Okay, trying this again. Internet went out on me, so I'm going to shorten it up then. Okay, so what I was saying when I started this before and then my internet just completely stopped on me was that today I'm going to be sharing a couple tales with you guys around manifesting, which goes exactly along with some of the stuff that I have been speaking to over the last few weeks about quantum leaping your life. And really, what does that mean? That means to quantum leap into exactly the life that you want by understanding that you are the creator of your life experiences, which means no more victim mindset. Okay. And what I hear and see a lot, whether it is just me scrolling through stuff or just things that I am seeing out there and what people will bring me in their coaching sessions and talks with me, is that there is this misconception that life is happening to them. And for sure, life does happen to you, but that's only when you close your eyes and let life happen to you. You are the co-creator with God, with universe, to design your life. Okay, all of the greatest spiritual teachings out there, biblical and other, really truly tell us this. And when you grasp how to do it, much like the two stories I'm going to be sharing with you, when you grasp how to do it, it's not that difficult. Okay, and yeah, there is a lot to it, but it's all up here. Okay, it's all how you go about thinking about it and how you go about feeling about it, because our emotion is what truly creates things. The emotion that we attach to those thoughts that we're having, and then that repeat, how we magnetize other thoughts and other feelings to a thought that we're already having. So what I'm going to tell you now is two stories, okay? So as I'm going through these, if you are catching this on the replay, hit replay in the comments. If you have a miracle-based story, and here's the thing, miracles aren't just about creating some amazing event, like at the end of, like, you were in the middle of an accident, or you desperately needed to manifest, $2,000 before you lost your house or something like that. Those are all, yes, those are miracles. But the big thing about miracle manifestation is that miracles are happening all the time. All the time. We just blind ourselves to them. We refuse to see them. We refuse to see our interaction with the universe as it is creating our moment-to-moment life. And so, it comes down to the smallest of things, okay? So I want you guys to start to really focus on that. Okay, stories. A few years ago, we're talking about, let me see, I'll tell you the 5-year-old story first, okay? So my 5-year-old, who is now 10, going on 11, when he was 5 years old, his dad and I had recently separated. It was shortly after his 5th birthday. So I want you to picture Gabriel, which you guys can see pictures and videos of here and there, I'm posting on those. But he has always been just this very vibrant little boy. Hey, Tina. He has always been this very vibrant little boy, and just so full of life and creativity and desire and passion. And Gabe, one day, all my kids were over at the house and everything, and just trying to make things good, even though some bad stuff had happened in the recent past at this point in time. And like I said, this is almost 6 years ago that this happened, but it's a beautiful little miracle tale. Okay. So Gabe is playing with his nephews and everything, and my son-in-law, he has all the kids out back. So all the kids go running out of the back of my house and out into the drive, and I had a backyard driveway, alleyway, driveway, and Gabe grabs a hold of his electric scooter, and he takes his electric scooter down the driveway. And even though he knew better, even though, yes, he was partially at fault for this, he goes down the drive and he hits the alleyway just as a minivan is coming down the alleyway. And the minivan hits Gabe on the scooter, and the scooter goes underneath the minivan, and Gabe goes up and over the hood of the minivan and lands on the ground on the passenger side, on the other side of the alleyway. Of course, all the kids are screaming. Okay, the car comes to a stop, thank goodness. It was a young girl. She was speeding down, and she was going about 15 miles, 20 miles an hour in a 10-mile-an-hour zone, not looking and everything, not being prepared for such events. And Gabe was being 5. And so, yes, he got hit by a car. And, you know, all the kids are screaming. My son-in-law comes in. He's panicking. He's carrying Gabe. He explains to me what's happened. 911 gets called. Ambulance, fire department, everybody shows up, right? And he's scared to death. He does not want to get into the ambulance to go to the children's hospital. And so I asked them, I said, you know, children's right down the street. Can I meet you guys there? And they're like, yes, as long as you go straight there, like follow us there. And so I put Gabe into my car, and as I'm buckling him up, he says to me with a smile on his face, kid just got hit by a car. And the scooter was toast. Like, it was all crumpled up. Thank God Gabe didn't go underneath. He went up and over and landed on the other side. But the scooter was a disaster zone, big electric scooter too. So he goes up and over, and I'm putting him in the car, and he looks at me with a smile on his face as I'm buckling him into his seat. And he says, I'm going to get ice cream, Mom. This is a kid that has never been to the hospital before. And I'm a naturopath, so yeah, I'm a non-vaccine person. And doctors aren't really a thing, right? Unless something big happens. You know, when there's a time and a place for Western medicine, fine. But he's not had any experience outside of like little annual checkups, you know, just growth checkups and stuff. So he has no clue what the hospital is about. But he looks at me and says, I'm going to get an ice cream at the hospital, Mom. And I said, are you? That's what you think? You think that going to the hospital, you're going to get ice cream? Do you think that Mom's going to get you an ice cream afterwards? He's like, no, I'm going to get ice cream at the hospital. I was like, okay, you keep manifesting, bud. You manifest that. That sounds great. And so we drive over to the hospital. We go in, we get him checked in, and we go back, and they, you know, check his eyes, check his heart, check his ribs, check everything out, because the kid just got hit by a car, right? And then he's sitting there on my lap and everything, and the nurse comes in and she says, okay, we're going to go and take you back, and we're going to go and do some x-rays and everything. And she's like, Mom can go with us, you know. And she looks at him and she says, tell you what, if we go through all of this really, really smooth, and she explained the machine to him. She said, go through everything. When we get done getting your x-rays done, we'll go over to the cafeteria and you can have an ice cream. I kid you not, in this moment, he turns around and he looks at me and goes, told you. Told you. And I'm like, good manifesting, bud. Good manifesting. Because that's what he did. He manifested an ice cream. So for a 5-year-old, yeah, he had great certainty. He asked God, universe, for it, and he had certainty, and he had vision, and I bet you that he could taste the future on his lips. He knew exactly what he wanted. He knew what it tasted like. And then he just relaxed into it because he just knew. He just knew that he was getting an ice cream at the hospital. So random, right? So random. Who would ever think I'm going to the hospital and getting an ice cream? Gabe did. And Gabe got an ice cream without even asking for it, without ever anything coming up. The nurse offered. And she just was like, don't let me bring you an ice cream, right? So seriously, within 20 minutes, he had manifested an ice cream. And you know, one of the exercises that I give to people is manifest a parking spot, manifest a cup of coffee today. And people go, how am I going to manifest a cup of coffee? I mean, I can go to the kitchen and pour myself a cup of coffee. And I'm like, no, manifest into giving you a cup of coffee. Like, manifest that. Like, just see it. use the principles that my 5-year-old just used right there, right? I mean, like, he did it. Why can't you manifest a cup of coffee, right? Or a parking spot. And you're like, well, there's a ton of parking spots in the parking lot. I can manifest a parking spot. I'm like, yeah, I want you to manifest like one within the first 3 spots. That perfect, what my kids call princess parking. And they talk about all the time. They're like, let's go. Like, when we pull into a parking lot, both my boys and my older kids, when they were little, we did this exercise, and it's basic manifestation exercise. And again, if my 5-year-old then could do it, and my 8-year-old, and my 10, and my 12, and my 20, if they can do it, right? Anybody can do this. And what it is that it's just seeing it as though it is. So like on a parking spot, you pull into a parking lot. As you're pulling into the parking lot, so envision it before you even get to the parking lot. Envision where you want to park, but not with this resistance. And what will get us is resistance 100% of the time. And what we don't understand is that we live in a state of resistance because it is our natural state, because it is uncomfortable. In truth, it is uncomfortable to manifest the miracles that we want. So that manifesting makes us feel a little nervous. And how we can tell that we're feeling nervous on the inside is that we're going to feel like we're grasping at it, like we're chasing it, like we're trying to, really hunt it down because we don't have it. We need it. It becomes so important to us that we are in this state of not having. So as long as we're in a state of not having it, we won't have it. As long as we're in a state of living in that gap between where we are and where we want to be, when we're in that gap, then something is missing. We're not fulfilled. We're not whole. Okay? But let's go back to Gabe's ice cream story. He just been hit by a car. Mom's buckling him into the car to go to the hospital, and he happily, like, he was jolly about it, and I'm bewildered because he's hurting. He's holding his arm, he's hurting, and I'm like, what is, and he goes, I'm getting an ice cream. I'm getting an ice cream at the hospital. Just this certainty. It was this feeling. He went with it, he spoke it, he commanded it in with his certainty and his excitement about it, and that is what created the nurse saying, tell you what, I'm going to get you an ice cream. We make it through the x-rays, getting you an ice cream. Certainty, confidence. He wasn't in a need spot. He wasn't in a, Mom, please take me to the ice cream place after the hospital. Mom, I just got hit by a car. I need you to buy me an ice cream. No, not once. Not once. He was all about it just is. Okay. Next tale. Okay. So, my now 18-year-old son, Levi, he was about 12 years old, and he had been wanting a yellow parakeet forever. And I'm not a big bird person. I'm not. I just don't like birds. I love birds outside. I don't like birds as pets for myself. And I just was anti-bird. And I kept telling him, no. And he's like, Mom, all I want for my birthday is a yellow parakeet. And he would just like, begged and begged and begged. And we're talking about like a couple months of this, right? And I just kept going, nope, over my dead body type statements. Like, nope, not gonna happen. And finally, we're coming up on his birthday. And this was like maybe 2 days before his birthday when he brings it up and he's like, Mom, and he's showing me pictures. He's like, look, I found this bird here. It's on sale at Petco. Can we go get it? Please, look. It's, and it's like this yellow one with a little bit of green on its feathers, and it's pretty and everything, but it's a bird. And I'm like, I'm making up excuses left and right. I'm like, yeah, well, it's not just the bird. We got to get the cage, and we got to get this, and we got to get this, and we got to get this, and then you got to take care of it, and it makes a mess. Who's going to clean the cage? That, like all this kind of stuff. And then I say this to him thinking, I'm sealing the deal. If bird's not happening. I already got the kid his birthday present. This is not happening. And I say to him, the only way you're going to get a bird is if God basically puts it on my doorstep and makes me take it. That is the only way you're getting a bird. Mom's a no. Hard stop. hard stop. And he says, okay, I'm going to go pray about it. So, a couple days before his birthday, on his birthday, he had school that year, so he opted to go to school for his birthday instead of playing hooky, which sometimes my kids do, but he goes to school, and I had client appointments booked at the office, which was maybe 35 minutes away from my home at that point in time. And so I go in, and it's a really windy day, and my office is on, I think it was on like the 5th floor of like a 15-floor building down in like a city area, okay? Down in the city area. And so it's really, really windy day. Son's birthday is November 15th. So you can picture the timeline here, the time, of year it is. So it's windy, it's cold. It was a day that they had, for whatever reason, they were locking the office doors and everything to the building. And so I had to come down the elevator each time a client got there and let them in the building. And so at this one point, I come down the elevator to let a client in the building. And as I walk up to these big glass doors, I look and I see something down by the bottom of the glass door, and it's like bouncing around at the bottom of the door. I'm like, what the heck? And I see my client like walking over, because they had texted, walking in. And so I went down to meet him. And so I see my client off in a distance walking towards the door, and this little thing is like bouncing in front of the door. I'm like, what the heck? So I push the door open a little bit, and I look around. A yellow with a little bit of green on its feathers parakeet on my doorstep. And I started laughing, because I knew I added to it, because I had so much emotion around the not having this bird, that I made the statement of, the only way you're going to get this kid is if God puts it on my doorstep. Yeah. And he went and prayed about it. And so our energies came together, me resisting it and him wanting it. And I kid you not, the perfect bird landed on my doorstep at my office building on the windiest frickin' day in the Dallas area that I had seen in forever. Lucky for me, here comes my client, and he's like, what's going on? I was like, bird, I gotta save the bird. I gotta save the bird. And I tell him the story going up, but I took my scarf off that I had on. I throw it around the bird. I'm carrying the bird up. I'm trying to find a box in my office in the midst of this session to put the bird in. And I get the bird all settled in a box, do my appointment. Ends up being a great coaching session, because we're talking about these things anyway. And now I've got my 12-year-old son who just manifested the bird right straight to mom's doorstep, because I assisted and said, only if God brings it to my doorstep do you get this bird. And here's the bird on the doorstep right there. So of course, go home with the bird and set it on the table in the box, and I'm like, go open up the box that's unwrapped, right? Like, here's your birthday present. You asked for it, God gave it to you. Here is your present. And he opens it up, and it's the bird of his dreams. And so, there you go. Manifesting 101, 12-year-old, 5-year-old style into the desires that you want. But again, what did Levi, my 12-year-old, do in that moment? What he did was he asked for it. He had resistance on the front side for a couple months, and he was meeting my resistance, right? But my resistance was growing, which was creating a gateway for it to actually come in, because I was so, you could say that I had tension around it, right? So I was actually helping magnetize this bird into our house by such focus all around it. Okay, so the universe does not hear I'm a yes to it or I'm a no to it. What the universe hears is your vibration, your frequency. Okay, and so I was attaching to this bird potentially more than what he was, but both of us were attaching to the exact same bird. Okay, and he was coming at it with this like, nope, it's gonna happen. And then he makes that commitment, right? He goes into commitment and he says, fine, I am going to pray about it. I'm going to go and talk to God. I'm going to go pray. And he says, I'm going to ask God. You said that God has to deliver it for me to get it. I'm asking God. And he asks, ask and it is given, right? And that is that tale right there. But then he had certainty around it. He held it consistently. He had great desire for it. He had vision. He was creating, I guess you could say, dream boards in some ways, because he had it as background on his phone. He had it, on his laptop. He was drawing pictures of it. He had a spot cleared out in his room. He had made space in his room for the bird cage. He was looking at all these different things. So he was living it. Okay, he was creating this space for it with his desire. And then he asked and he had certainty. And in this instance, he got a little extra boost from mom, who was building up this resistance, but resistance in his favor, because my energy was going towards the bird as well. And I was drawing it in as well. And boom, bird on the doorstep, delivered by God. So, what are those steps? I'm going to run through them real quick for anybody who did not get it. Ask. Ask and it is given, just like the scriptures say. Have certainty. Notice what your frequency is on your ask, okay? Anything that you're asking for. Are you coming at it from a gap space, which means a place where you feel that you are unfulfilled, unwhole without it? You're in a space of need, chasing, having to go after it, grasping at it, because that grasping energy makes it go away. Okay, so this is where most of it all goes astray. Okay, it is that right there. Having that vision is the next piece. Okay, so that vision, what are you creating? Can you see it? Do you create a vision of, oh, when I have gap, when gap, or as though it is? Okay, so that is tasting the future as though it is. So seeing it in real time as though it is, feeling the feelings without it being there. Okay, guaranteed my 5-year-old was feeling the feelings of joy with his happy little smile on his face. Even though he'd just been hit by a car, he was excited about the ice cream because he could taste it. Okay, so that is tasting the future as though it really is, in that enthusiasm. Even though it has not materialized yet, it is still there. And then just relaxing, because it just is. You just know it to be so. So how can it not? I don't have to sell you on what color the sky is, right? But I have to sell you on your dreams, to sell you on your desires. Because why? Because through the course of time, through your life, you have been shown that it can't, that you have to fight for it, that there is a void there, but there's no void. The only void is your belief that there is a void. Okay, so when you can get to that point, and the closer you get, the quicker things manifest, the quicker they will materialize for you, when you actually start to just know that it is. So there you go. On that note, Amazing Mastermind coming up in January. So to learn those principles, to work one-on-one with me, where we will deep dive into the creation process, where you will be able to create the 2024 that you truly desire. I just want to remind somebody out there probably needs to hear this, that God does not make unworthy things. And I think that probably the number one challenge that I see with people, no matter what the subject area of their life is that they believe that they are not worthy of it. They believe that they are not good enough, or that they are too much. They believe that they are victims to life, instead of understanding that they really truly are a co-creator to life, that they are the ones that are making it happen. Okay, so when we are in those spaces where we are feeling anxiety, where we are feeling grief and remorse and bitterness and regret and depression and anger, or just apathy, which is the worst, just apathy in our life, what that is saying is that we are disconnected from who we really are. We are living in an illusion when we are in those thoughts and those feelings. That is the illusion. That is the space where we are so far away from who we really are, which is divine, beautiful creators. And through this mastermind that is starting up in January, you're going to have the opportunity to choose between a 6-month program and a 12-month program where you will get to deep dive into creating exactly what you want in multiple subject areas of your life. We'll, of course, hone in on one area first because you get one area vibing exactly where you want, where things are just sliding into home base smoothly. Then everything else is so much easier. Everything else will just rise up to that. It has to be. All areas of your life will come online to match each other. But right now, you just got to choose one. You just got to go deep in. We're going to do multiple quests in this. We're going to do short-term quests and we're going to do longer-term quests. We're going to grow that field of miracles for you over the course of 6 months to a year. And by the time 2025 rolls around, you will be living the life that you have always wanted. But you have to act. You have to let me know in the comments. You have to say, me. Hey, message me. Or take it upon yourself to say yes all the more and pop me a message. Say, hey, I'm interested in that mastermind. I'm interested in creating the next year of my dreams where they are really truly manifesting, where I can not just think about them, hope for them, feel the resistance of not having them, but feel them because they are, because it just is. And you are worthy. You are fantastic. This is a blessed time of the year, much like any time of the year. It is a blessed time of the year, and you are blessed too. And I love you guys, and I just hope that you're having an amazing weekend, an amazing December, an amazing end of the year. And know that your miracles are out there. They're manifesting for you right before your eyes. There's just a little bit of a space there, but that's a space that you're creating. So choose differently, choose wisely, and start to say yes to you. I love you guys. Catch you next time.